Good day, everyone. Welcome to Learn and Solve TV. This video is about factoring difference of two squares. Bago tayo magsimula, siguraduhin hawak ninyo ang inyong mga papel at ballpen upang sagutin ang sumusunod na tanong. Handa na ba kayo? Let's play Blast It! Number 1. Which of the following is not a perfect square? A. 4, B. 8, C. 64, or D. 121? Okay, please take note that a perfect square is a number that is the result of a number multiplied by itself. So the answer is B, because 4 is equal to 2 times 2, 64 is equal to 8 times 8, and 121 is equal to 11 times 11. Next, what is the square root of 625? A, 5, B, 15, C, 20, or D, 25? Remember that the square root of a number is a value that gives the number when multiplied by itself. So the answer for the square root of 625 is letter D, 25. Because 5 times 5 is equal to 25, 15 times 15 is equal to 225, 20 times 20 is equal to 400, and 25 times 25 is equal to 625. So, the square root of 625 is 25. What is the square root of x raised to 4? A x squared, B x, C 2x, or D 4x? How to get the square root of x raised to 4? Since the exponent of the variable x is even, we are just going to divide it by 2. Therefore, the square root of x raised to 4 is x squared. Let's have the following example. Square root of x raised to 8 is equal to, very good, x raised to 4. Next, what is the square root of x raised to 22? Very good, divide 22 by 2, so we have x raised to 11. Next, square root of 9x squared. Very good. So the square root of 9x squared is 3x. Number 4. Which of the following statements is not a characteristic of difference of two squares? The answer for number 4 is B. Since we are talking about the difference of two squares, kailangan tandaan nyo na ang difference of two squares ay mayroong dalawang terms. And then both terms must be perfect squares. And then, ang operation dapat nila ay subtraction. Number 5. Which of the following is not a difference of two squares? A squared minus b squared, B, d cubed minus 4, C, 100x squared minus y squared, or D, x squared minus 1/4. Tandaan na ang difference of two squares dapat mayroong dalawang perfect square at ang operation ay subtraction. So letter B is not a difference of two squares because the exponent of D is 3. A squared is a perfect square, B squared is a perfect square, and the operation is minus. Is x squared minus 4 a difference of two squares? Yes, it is a difference of two squares. How about x squared plus 25? Very good. This is not a difference of two squares because the operation is addition. Next, x squared minus y. Is this a difference of two squares? Not, because the second term is not a perfect square. To factor the difference of two squares, we need to remember that the difference of two squares has two perfect squares and their operation must be subtraction. Again, tandaan natin na ang difference of two squares ay mayroong dalawang perfect squares at ang operation nila ay subtraction. So the pattern in factoring difference of two squares is x squared minus y squared is equal to the sum times the difference of those terms. In words, the difference of the squares of two terms is the product of the sum and difference of those terms. So dito, kukuhanin natin ang square root ng x squared at square root ng y squared. Then gagawin nating product ng sum at difference nila. Handa na ba kayo? Magaling! So let's have the following examples. Please take note of the pattern. X squared minus y squared is equal to the product of the sum and difference of those terms. Example, factor x squared minus 4. Let's check if x squared is a perfect square. So x squared is equal to x times x is equal to x squared, meaning the square root of x squared is x, while 4 is equal to 2 times 2 equals 2. Therefore, the square root of 4 is 2. Then, yung square root nila na x at 2, gagawin lang nating plus and minus. So, we have x plus 2 times x minus 2. Yun na ang factored form ng x squared minus 4. Next example, factor a squared minus 100. Ano ba ang square root ng a squared? Very good! Ang square root ng a squared ay a. I-divide nyo lang ang exponent na 2 sa 2. Next, ano ang square root ng 100? Great! Ang square root ng 100 ay 10. Then, pagkakuha natin ng square root, gagawin lang natin siyang a plus 10 times a minus 10. Let's have the following solution para mas malinaw. For a squared, we have a times a is equal to a squared, meaning the square root of a squared is a. For 100, we have 10 times 10 equals 10 squared. So the square root of 100 is 10. Then, gagawin lang natin tong sum and difference. The factored form now is a plus 10 times the quantity of a minus 10. So in this example, the final answer is quantity a plus 10 times the quantity a minus 10. Next, factor 4b squared minus c squared. What is the square root of 4b squared? Very good. The square root of 4b squared is 2b. What is the square root of c squared? Correct. The square root of c squared is c. Again, for the variable, we are just going to divide the exponent by 2. So now, since alam na natin kung ano ang square root nila, susundin na natin itong pattern na to. Papalitan lang natin yung x ng 2b at yung y ng c. So the factors now are 2b plus c and gagawin lang nating minus 2b minus c. Ganyan lang kasimple. So pakita natin ang solution para dito. Para sa 4b squared, we have 2b times 2b equals 2b squared. So, ang square root ng 4b squared ay 2b. Para naman sa c squared, we have c times c equals c squared. So, ang square root natin ng c squared ay c. So, gagamitin natin yung terms na 2b at c. Gagawin lang natin silang plus at minus para makuha ang factored form. Therefore, 2b plus c times 2b minus c is the factored form of 4b squared minus c squared. In this example, let's factor 9x squared minus 25y squared. Pero kailangan muna nating i-check kung difference of two squares ba ito. Para sa 9x squared, tingnan natin kung may factor ba to na pwedeng i-multiply sa sarili niya para makuha ang 9x squared. Anong factor ang pwede nating gamitin? Very good. We have 3x times 3x. Ibig sabihin niyan, ang square root ng 9x squared ay equal sa 3x. Next, 25y squared. Anong factor ng 25y squared ang pwedeng i-multiply sa sarili niya para makuha natin ang 25y squared? Very good. We have 5y times 5y is equal to the square of 5y. Ibig sabihin niyan, ang square root ng 25y squared ay 5y. Since minus din ang operation niya, confirm na ito ay difference of two squares at pwede na natin gamitin ang pattern. So, para sa pattern nito, gagawin lang natin na product ng sum ng 3x at 5y at ang difference ng 3x at 5y ang factored form. Therefore, the factored form is 3x plus 5y, quantity 3x plus 5y, times the quantity of 3x minus 5y. Hence, 9x squared minus 25y squared is equal to the product of the sum of 3x and 5y and the difference of 3x and 5y. Number 5. Let's factor x raised to 4y squared minus 49. Again, kapag kumuha tayo ng square root ng variable, i-divide lang natin ang exponent niya sa 2. So, para sa x raised to 4, ang square root niyan ay x squared. Sa y squared naman, ang square root ay y. Then, for 49, ang square root niyan ay 7. Let's check kung tama ang ating nakuhang square root. For x raised to 4y squared, ang factor niya na pwedeng i-multiply sa sarili niya para makuha ang x raised to 4y squared ay x squared y. So, ang square root niya ay x squared y. So, tama ang una nating nakuha. Para naman sa 49, ang factors niyan ay 7 times 7, which is equal to 7 squared. So, ang square root naman nito ngayon ay 7. Then, para sa factors, gagamitin natin ang terms na x squared y at 7 at gagawin nating product ng sum nila at difference nila. So, paano yon? Gagawin lang nating x squared y plus 7 and then x squared y minus 7. Imumultiply lang natin yung dalawang factors na ito. Hence, x raised to 4y squared minus 49 is equal to the product of the sum of x squared y and 7 and the difference of x squared y minus 7. Let's have the last example. In this example, we are going to factor 3x squared minus 48. However, 3 is not a perfect squares. But, as you can see, we can factor out the GCF of 3x squared and 48, which is 3. So, when we factored out the GCF, we will get 3 times the quantity of x squared minus 16. We know that x squared minus 16 is a difference of two squares. That's why we can still factor this by applying the pattern in factoring difference of two squares. So let's get the square root of x squared. So for x squared, that can be expressed as x times x equals to the square of x. So the square root is x. For 16, that is equal to 4 times 4 equal to the square of 4. So its square root is 4. Now, to get the factored form, we're going to use x and 4. But don't forget to include 3. Remember, meron tayong common factor na finactor out kanina. So, magiging sagot natin ay 3 times yung product na ng sum and difference ng x at 4. So, 3 times the quantity x plus 4 times the quantity x minus 4. Hence, 3x squared minus 48 is equal to 3 times the quantity x plus 4 times the quantity x minus 4. Factor the following polynomials. Number 1, t squared minus 1. 2, x raised to 4 minus y squared. 3, a squared minus 25p squared. And number 4, 2x squared minus 18. Maaari ninyong i-pause ang video na ito upang makapagsagot kayo ng maayos at magkaroon kayo ng enough time. Narito na ang mga kasagutan. That is the end of our lesson. I hope you learned something new today. Thank you and keep solving.